Hello, and thank you for joining the midweek edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, President Tinubu addresses United Nations General Assembly, advocates sanctions against extremism, arms proliferation in Africa, and later on the show, ahead of the Court of Appeal's legal week, stakeholders push for better remuneration, working conditions for judges for quick and effective dispensation of justice. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Mojid Jamil. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Jide, what's happening? The tribunal sitting in Kano State, I just read it now, and I know that, man, this is big. It's, actually nullified the election of the governor, the candidate of the NNPP. And, you know, we used to talk about how popular the NNPP is in Kano State during that election. What happened?
No, it's about...
The tribunal wants Ghana to be given the certificate of return now.
But it's not the final court, so I'm sure they will appeal it right up to the final court, which is the Supreme Court. In this kind of matters, we as journalists, we can only be patient to see how the matter will be finally resolved. You know what happened in Osun. When you read the first judgment, you will conclude that Oyetola had won. Yes, but some of the reasons given by the appeal court were that, you said this person was guilty of forgery, but you didn't bring the principal of his school to come and prove that indeed that certificate was not issued by them. You know, the court also said that it was not enough to use the beavers, you know, to ascertain overvoting, that the voters register should have been used. The court also said, you should have, the judges that concord should have put their conclusions in writing. And that for not doing that, it was fatal to the case. So you can imagine some of those issues that were later resolved in favor of Adeleke. We didn't expect it. We didn't expect, for example, that with the electronic accreditation module, that you still need to use
from ECOWAS.
That you still need to use the voters register to authenticate overvoting. Well, that was what the appeal court said, and that was what the Supreme Court also agreed on. So a lot of people were left bemused, surprised that such issues were used to eventually disqualify Oyetola. So in this case, we don't know what will happen when they get to the appeal court or the Supreme Court.
So they still have the Court of Appeal and they still have the Supreme Court.
Yes. So for it's still governor for
the governorship they have.
It's still in government house. It's still governor until the final court rules. Anything can happen, you know. And we've seen somebody who lost at the appeal court, and the Supreme Court said, no, you are the... Remember, I think the governor for your state.
Even Governor Nyesom Wike.
Yes, they lost. It was the Supreme Court that saved them. Nyesom Wike, and I think even the governor of Akwa Ibom at that time.
MJ.
Yeah, it was a shock judgment. I started having some goose pimples in the morning when I heard that the court was empty and the judges chose the Zoom option to...
Zoom option?
Yeah, it was delivered via Zoom.
Kano?
Yeah, Kano, this judgment we are talking about. So I started having some feelings then that something might just happen. So Abba Yusuf, for now, remains governor. There are 3 legs. So for Ganduje and the APC, it's...
Ghana?
Yeah.
Deputy...
No, Ganduje is the main... Ganduje is the main, but Ghana is the...
Ghana is the candidate of the...
But then, this battle is between Ganduje and Kwakwanso. We all know it. So now it is 1-0, but then it's a three-legged.
1-1.
Okay, so okay, now it's 1-1.
Yes.
So we still have two other legs. The final leg.
They open 3-3 draws.
But the Supreme Court will take the final. So I'm not excited, and like Jide said, we'll just be looking at what is happening because we have not seen the details of the judgment. Rather, I mean, the only thing we can pick from what happened today is that yes, the tribunal judges said INEC ought not to have declared Abba Yusuf governor.
All what we know is that, in Kano won #1 in the federation for governorship and presidential.
Voting.
Kano is, in terms of voting, they are #1 in the country.
Yeah, the people gave somebody who was not
on the ballot.
Somebody who was technically not on the ballot because he had left the party. He still got 400 and something thousand votes.
Yeah. Kano people, they don't have
Tadabo.
at all. So we'll be on it. we'll be on it. We're not going to leave it at all.
Kodame, Kazo, and Fika.
Kano. All right. From ECOWAS to the African Union and now the United Nations, it has been a roller coaster ride for President Bola Tinubu on the global stage with less than 4 months into his presidency. President Tinubu addressed world leaders at the 78th United Nations General Assembly in New York, where he made solemn call for a crackdown on terror financing, economic sabotage, and illicit arms smuggling in developing societies. President Tinubu noted that his aggressive economic diplomacy push for new investment has been effective in presenting Nigeria as business ready. Let's share the story from TVC News. Femi Akonde with you.
Just outside the United Nations headquarters, people are making their way inside. Ahead of President Bola Tinubu's speech to the UN General Assembly,
of welcoming
his first address on the biggest global stage as the leader of Nigeria. Inside the General Assembly hall, President Bola Tinubu takes to the rostrum to deliver a broader message that transcends beyond Nigeria and cuts across Africa. He called for a crackdown on terror financing, economic sabotage, and illicit mineral and arms smuggling in the developing world.
Our entire region is locked in protracted battle against violent extremists. And the turmoil, a dark channel of inhuman commerce has formed. At the same time, mercenaries and extremists with their lethal weapons and vile ideologies invade our region from the north. This harmful traffic undermines the peace and stability of the entire region.
President Bola Tinubu is bold about his declaration that Nigeria is open for business and a promise of return on investment for multinationals willing to come in and explore the abundance of opportunities in the country.
We welcome partnership with those who not mind seeing Nigeria and Africa assume larger roles in the global community. The question is not whether Nigeria is open for business. The question is how much of the world is truly open to doing business with Nigeria, and how Africa is an equal, mutually beneficial manner.
Just like other world leaders, President Tinubu committed to the global climate action and pledged that Nigeria and other African nations will cooperate with the fight against climate change. But there is a caveat to this. African leaders will fight climate change on their own terms.
Climate change severely impacts Nigeria and Africa. I also lament the grave loss of life in Morocco and Libya. The Nigerian people are with you. Please, Note that. African nations will fight climate change, but must do so on fair and just terms.
Beyond the flowery speech at the United Nations, there seems to be a lot of excitement and optimism generated by what the speech translates to for the people in the country and on the continent. They commended Nigeria's new posture of leadership in Africa. The coming days will be busy for President Bola Tinubu as he continues to push Nigeria's investment drive and fast-track national growth and opportunities. Femi Akonde, TVC News, New York.
Julie, I'm kind of surprised. The delivery of Mr. President, compare it to his delivery during the electionary process and everything. But since he got to this position now, you can see yesterday I took my time, I listened to the speech, and I saw the delivery as wonderful.
You see, what we told them at that time that they didn't believe was the fact that this man flogged his body thoroughly during the campaigns. A lot of the people who will make fun of an old man sleeping in the palace of an emir, we saw them during the reading of the judgment of the presidential election petitions court. Some had not even listened for up to 30 minutes. They were already in dreamland, including journalists. I mean, they had not sat in that court for up to 30 minutes. They were gone. Gone. Otilo. You know? It's like the song that Hot Kid and Zlatan sang. We are support Otilo. You don't go. No traces. That song now. They were gone. But you will mock Tinubu for falling asleep in the palace of an emir. That is a man who would not go to bed until like 4 a.m. during those campaigns. And before 9 a.m., some people are already at his door. So when you flog your body that much, it has to tell. There's no way that it won't tell. Even we that we are much younger, some of us lazy folks, we travel to Abuja, come back the same day. We will not go to work. We just go straight home to go and enjoy the comfort of our homes. And we had people who were doing up to 3 rallies in one day sometimes.
Back to back.
And other engagements apart from rallies. So by the time he went to France to rest and came back, it was a different Tinubu that we were seeing. Somebody said that it looks like this man conned us during the campaigns. That is it not the same man that was saying Bala Blue? You know, since he came back from France, he has not given them a single soundbite. They've been looking for it with their fine-tooth comb. They got, you know, the kind of light that those Yoruba hunters of those days use, that they will put on their heads.
They use carbide to
yes,
fire.
they put that kind of a lamp on their heads, looking for soundbite. When will he say Bala Blue again? When will he say Bala Blue? No more Bala Blue, because he has benefited from sufficient rest. And when you rest, you feel fresh. And some of the people who used to even go to disturb him and all that, once you enter inside that place called Aso Rock, Villa, you cannot just, it is only if he wants to see you that you can see him. You can't get crashed into his house to go and disturb him. So those things have made him stronger, made him fresh. I was speaking with one of his aides. He said, because of this man, these days it's around 1 a.m. that I sleep. Because he too will not go to bed early. And that's a man that they felt was too ill to run Nigeria. That, he cannot work unless being aided. Who aided him to go and give speech? All of the people that he's been having those meetings with. The people who sit on Twitter, or is it X that they call them now? Those who abuse other people. How many of them can have even 3 engagements in one day? They will shut down their phones when people begin to disturb them.
So you couldn't check
They've not
those
got-
papers that his
Huh?
hands were shaking.
Huh? No, when last did you see his hand shaking? Ayo, on the day that they gave him his certificate of return, you know he held it aloft.
No, didn't.
it's
like-
but it was when he was reading
changing,
this
it was
speech, he was opening the leaves.
I said he held it aloft and his hand was not shaking. So things have changed. They are looking frantically to find something that they can ridicule him about. But look, he's a completely changed man now. He has rested. He battled hard for it, and God gave him the thing. Now that God has given him, he's relaxed. He's just looking at them like the proverbial kitty cat, bat, just watching. Just looking at them like Fauci,
Like a bat.
looking at them, waiting to see what will happen next. That's his
Angie,
So
Angie,
the,
let's go to the subject matter now.
the 20-minute speech delivered by Asiwaju yesterday, I've listened to it like 5 times, and I've had commentaries. It's one of the best speeches by any Nigerian president. I'm not saying it's the best. I said one of the best before they will say I'm overpraising him now. The delivery, the content,
the calmness.
the calmness, and even the subject he addressed, the theme.
Yes.
I mean, in Lagos, he had what we called the speech villa in Lagos. I don't know what they call it in Abuja, but whoever put that together, I mean, did a fantastic job. And I know that
It's not be one person.
of course, I mean, the team that put it together, of course. I know Tunde Rahman, Dele Alake, the chief of staff, Gbajabi Amila. Those 3 are very key. I am very sure of that. Because, you know, they and of course, Tunji Bello, they have always been involved in writing a speech. Look at, you see the theme of what Asiwaju presented yesterday. Said rebuilding trust, reigniting global solidarity. That's the main topic, with the sub-theme accelerating actions on the 2030 agenda and its sustainable development goals towards peace, prosperity, progress, and sustainability for all, where he said it's no longer going to be business as usual, that Africans will no longer return old shackles, I mean, in the same old way, and that Africa is going to deal with the issue of climate change, but at our own terms. You are not going to dictate to us. You are not going to say you are sending a gay ambassador to us and that we must take it hook, line, and sinker just because
in exchange for
in exchange for AIDS. No, you can't force things down our throats any longer. And are the kind of things we were asking for before post World War II, when UN came into being. I mean, that those things are different now. And although you acknowledge that, yes, we still have the issues of a leadership that we need to deal with amongst ourselves, but the UN must not continue to see Africa as a mere a protege of things that...
Or a continent to be exploited.
Or a continent to be exploited.
About,
yes,
the
exploitation.
Democratic Republic of Congo.
Yeah, Congo.
They've been at war all these years.
And
But the exploitation of that extremely
we are
rich
going there and
country
taking
is
their
going on.
gold.
They
And
have timber in so much quantity. They have diamond. If there is a country that God has blessed tremendously,
look at what they have done
it is
to
Congo.
Yeah, look at what they have done to
everything.
Niger too.
But there's no peace.
Niger has uranium. The uranium and the lithium that they have in Niger is what they use to light the whole of France. And those guys there, it's Nigeria that's giving them electricity. And you come, you exploit this thing, you take it back to your
Instead of building
country.
a nuclear power plant for them, at least. So you talk about the exploitation of Africa, that it has to stop. And so that people do not think that military rule is popular in Africa. He's saying, look, yes, some countries have reverted to military rule, but military rule is not popular in our continent. But he talked about some of the problems pushing people to take extreme actions. And he's saying, look, let's have a situation in which promises will be kept. Because when you don't keep promises, you are annoying the people. And when the people are not happy, they will welcome military rule with open arms. So I'm happy that he talked about that and violent extremism, the need for us to come together and defeat violent extremism. The speech talked on so many things that bother us as a people of this continent. And I'm happy that I did not speak like an hypocrite. During his campaigns, he talked about this climate change thing.
Yeah.
Many people thought, can he say this on the big stage? And he said it on the big stage.
Yeah.
That's how you know a president who is confident in his beliefs and who is not an hypocrite. He said it on the big stage. You can't, it will be on our own terms.
And he said,
you're not going to dictate the terms for us.
Yeah, he said we are going to embrace it on a fair and just terms on our own. So, of course, he acknowledged that, yeah, bad leadership has been responsible for the spate of coups. But then, these characters, I mean, they also, the Western world also assist in fueling.
They are complicit.
Yeah, they are complicit in these regime changes. When you support a government that impoverishes its people, you know, when we have some companies in Nigeria, most of them are French companies. Now, there was a video that went viral about 2 weeks ago. A French company was leaving. They were destroying the vehicles they left behind. So just that,
can't use it.
I mean, the nationals, the Nigerians there could not have access to those vehicles. Why would you do that? You could just dash it to them. They were destroying the plant and equipment and vehicles.
Yeah, they were living in anger, so they are not prepared to dash them.
Yeah. So, I mean,
the people rose up against them.
Of course.
So they are angry.
I know. I think the French ambassador was ejected. So, I mean, now Africans are waking up, and it's no longer business as usual. And the kind of demands we make in Africa now are quite different from those of a post-war Europe. The president said that during the speech. Fantastic speech.